Hi, everybody, and welcome to Ideas Sin. My name is Denise, and I am your host for this podcast. And tonight, I am excited to bring to you Jessica. I call you Jess, but you also go by Jessica. Do you have a preference by chance?
Jess. The closer I get to people, it just turns from Jessica to Jessie to Jess.
Oh, I totally bypassed Jesse. Yes.
No, it's okay.
Aw. Well, you and I met at the Austin Film School taking like the intro to camera work class or something. I can't remember.
It was actually the podcast
Oh, it's
class.
the podcast one. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, that's right. I feel like yeah, because 'cause we've had at least 2 classes together, and I forgot I took the podcast. No, I remember, but I was just like, "Man, I know we were in audio processing. I thought it was the camera one." Yeah.
maybe.
No, it I think it was the podcast one. But, like, what made you take that class? Like, why'd you take the podcast class?
I was just kind of taking like any class they offered at the time, just to kind of see what the program was about. And I've never been into podcasts, or I don't fully like listen to them, but I know like it's a different way of reaching people instead of on TV these days.
Mm. Did it inspire you to create your own podcast?
After reading or kind of seeing how much costly it is now, how much work it is now.
Oh, man. What kind of work? Because 'Cause I'm, like, in this, so it's like, what did you pick up that I didn't pick up?
I guess I don't know. She kind of went through everything, and I got it, but it just kind of didn't really stick to me or like reach out to me.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, and that's totally cool. Because yeah, there's definitely certain elements that I was just like, "Oh, I don't know about this," or, "I don't know about that." Like, the legal part of it, I was like, "Oh, man," like, I really didn't wanna, like, get into that too much. I was like, "Nah, man, podcast, whatever. It's just casual, this and that." Like, I would never have to do something like that, but then the media class I took yesterday, the media policy, they start going in about copyrights and defamation and, like, all these different things, and I'm just like, "Oh, now I see. We have to." It's like you have to protect yourself and at least the people that are on the show too in case if something happens, so yeah.
Wow, yeah. I didn't know any of that. I know like music, it's a lot of like copyright stuff, but I didn't know about the defamation rule.
Yeah, there's, like apparently, if somebody states something that's not correct, an incorrect fact, or they start talking about somebody or something, and there's everybody everybody's a little sensitive nowadays, and so, like, you can say something, and somebody could interpret it completely differently, and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh," and blah, 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 and it's like a thing. Which is really hard. I find like even comedians are struggling. Comedians, they're literally supposed to make fun of everything and everyone, and they get a lot of backlash from what I see.
Yeah, they get trashed. Haven't kept up with them, but I know like if they say something wrong, like their career just goes down the drain.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same with movies. Like if you look back at like any like rom-coms like early 2000s, they say a lot of stuff, and like just people are sensitive these days. Like it's funny to us, but like I get why like they're upset from it.
Yeah. I mean, and you're probably more into film and understanding the movies and the videos and things like that than I am. But like, do you find that the way movies are being created now are know, like, have they lost their creative styling to it because they now have to accommodate to these different sensitivities and things? Or what's your perspective on, like, how we create nowadays?
Yeah, I think it's like you just have to be careful what you say, just for everything. It could offend one person, and you don't want it to backlash on the movie, or your own career. It's just treading lightly, and you reach certain audiences too, like with what you say. Um, but yeah, I think it's really tough if you're trying to make a movie because you don't want to say the wrong thing, whether it be like racist or abusive or like sexual assault. Like there's a lot of aspects from it.
Yeah. That was stuff that they covered yesterday in the class too, is like, you whatever you produce, you're the one that's liable for that. And this is like what's acceptable and not acceptable. And there's certain like laws in place as well that are just dictating like what you can and cannot do when you're producing something. And so that's been really interesting to see and like interesting to see how people get around it. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, does that like bother you at all since you're taking these classes and you really want to get into film creation and music videos more? Or are you just kind of like, yeah, we'll see how it goes? Like, what's your take on that?
I guess for me, I have like looked up so for the copyrights in like restaurants. Like done like some background research, but it's like off of Google, and I you need like certain rights to play music in the restaurant. You can't just use Spotify.
Hmm.
And if you use like your at home account, like at the restaurant, obviously like you can play music, but like you're not supposed to be doing that. You're supposed to pay, I think, a couple certain sites, and then you're allowed to use those certain songs.
Hmm.
So like I've only looked into like the music aspect of it just for editing films, but like not yet anything like for like movies and stuff. So if you produce it yourself or if it's like a cover, then you can kind of get around those sort of things, but you can't like completely use something from someone that they produce themselves because that's like money that's owed to them.
Yeah. So is that like royalty free music or like licensing that you have to get through these particular apps? Or like what's so special
Yeah,
about these apps?
it's like a website, I think, and they're just allowed to play this music. Um,
Mm.
I haven't looked at it recently, but it's just you pay for this service for a year or monthly, and then you're allowed to play that music in the restaurant.
Hmm.
So I don't know if that's the same for like for producing videos. If you can use it in the background of a music video, or um, you kind of can get by with those like TikToks just because it's a certain clip and they're allowed to use that music.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always interesting because like Instagram, like I try to do a lot of reels on there, but it's connected to Spotify. And that's where I get all my music from. I don't like use these royalty free things because it's just not directly connected to that app. Um, do you think that that's going to change in the future?
No, I just think like obviously artists deserve, I think a part of it like
Yeah.
may go to them, but they deserve like whatever they're making from their music because like they produced it.
Mhm.
So I think that's kind of like to help them, just so like stuff isn't like illegally, used or downloaded for them.
Yeah. And so what got you interested in music videos anyway?
Just, I mean, I think probably just watching the old MTV and VH1.
Yeah. Nice.
You just kind of look back at those and you're like, huh, these are kind of funny, or they're just produced, certain way. Just either it follows a story and it makes you like the song even more, or it's just completely different and it makes you hate the song.
Mm. Yeah, that's true. That visual aspect, like, can really mess with you or see things in a different way. Is there, like, a particular song or video that you like?
Ooh,
that's, like, maybe influenced you the most?
not like there was one a while back when I was in my sad boy era. Uh, I just really like how it was produced, and I think he was like a just like a friend of the artist that was just like helping him out. I'll look it up real quick here.
Mhm.
Mhm. It's a popular one, and I'm blanking on it. Okay, it's called "Read Your Mind" by Party Alone,
Read your mind.
and
Okay.
like it's just like the different angles and I don't know, just like the rotation. He kind of like goes around this photo booth and like these close ups and like the color really pops. And it's like a sad song, but like you just kind of like, I don't know, you can like feel the emotion in the music video, if that makes sense.
Mm, yeah. So then what aspect of music video creation do you think you're drawn to the most?
Probably I'd have to do like the storyline first to kind of get like an outline and then go from there and just kind of just free fall from there.
Mm,
So kind of build it and then make sense of it, if that makes sense, and then kind of put it all together.
yeah. So then would you say that you like more of like the writing aspect or like the I guess like the creation of the concept of the video versus like the
Yeah,
technical like I want to record, I want to do audio type of thing?
yeah. So it's first, yeah, for sure. The you have to write kind of like, well, for some, like obviously it's not a story, but
Mhm.
I need to like have this outline so I can kind of follow these key points and then make the story from there.
Hmm.
So it's a small like guideline to kind of get me there.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely helps. I mean, then from there, once you have that storyline put in place for you, what typically comes after? Like, are you naturally gravitating more towards like the lighting, the colors, the environment, the aesthetics? Like, what else kind of like piques your interest after that?
I think for sure, just like it's it's like different switches. So like you just want a good shot right after the other. Um, I don't mess around with the color or the lighting. That's until till the end, but just kind of I feel if it's too boring, the audience won't like it. So you want them to like have those points that pop out.
Mhm. And how often do you have to like change the scene for it to not get boring, especially now that we're in social media and we're constantly like, "Oh," with all the
I
scrolling.
honestly, yeah, I'm bad at that. That's why I can't focus these days
There's a lot
on
of
my
us.
phone all the time. Um, I honestly, I'd say like seconds. Like you want to keep your audience, just invested in what you're creating, or else they're gonna turn away real quick.
Mm,
And whether it's like music, you want them the chorus or the song to be catchy. Can't be like I don't know, quick beats where you want to ease them in. Like I guess it just depends,
yeah,
but you want to invite that audience.
yeah. Have you ever written music yourself?
Gosh, no, I've tried.
Yeah? What kind of music? Like
Uh,
sad boy songs?
Sad boy songs. No, it's sometimes I feel like I'll take note of something if it's like a good rhyme or like a lyric, but I've never like written anything complete.
Hmm,
So I'll be like, oh, this is a good title for a song, or oh, this is like just a really good lyric that I think will go well in something.
yeah. Maybe that could be a creative exercise for you is to actually, like, go through the entire process of songwriting and being like, "Man, like, how do you create that catchiness there?" And then really trying to emphasize, like, certain aspects of the song and being like, "Oh, what would sound good with that?" Like, trying to piece the emotion, what you're already feeling, like, as you're creating the song.
Yeah, that's probably where I'm stuck, and like
Mm.
kind of thought about taking that class from the band that we're documenting. She took the songwriting class,
Oh,
and she said that really helped her kind of get through the funk that she was in. It kind of just helped her finish that song that she needed those key points to do.
yeah. Oh, I didn't know that they had a songwriting class. I thought it was just all instrumental and learning what it was.
No, I think yeah, that solo showcase, if you
Mhm.
remember, we recorded that one time. That was her original song. And yeah, I believe it was just like I don't remember what the class is called, but I just assumed songwriting class or
Yeah,
intro maybe.
yeah. Oh, that's cool. So, for listeners, like, I know, like, Jess and I are kinda diving into a lot of different things, but, like, we met in the school and, we're working on like, a women's classic surf rock band documentary, and then they met at this school called Femrock, and folks can sign up for classes and then they learn how to play instruments and like how to be in a band, right? Like, and a lot of the times it's themed and it's like, yeah, you guys are going to play music to, I don't know, David Bowie or what? I don't know if they have David
No,
Bowie, but
yeah,
like, so like something
they
cool.
they probably do. I've looked it up. It's like a couple. I wanted to sign up for one. It's like Josie and the Pussycats
Oh,
band,
yeah.
or I think Gwen Stefani garage band, and just like other ones. But they look sound fun.
Yeah. I mean, what part would you take on if you were enrolling?
So I've been in and out of like playing guitar. So I find like a class that's like intermediate guitar because I know like the basics, but I just need someone to kind of give me that feedback that I need to kind of continue, just playing and just kind of freestyle from there because I'm good at like some, but like I need just like the next step, like that next push and like reassurance that like you're doing good, just keep going, daily practices, like stuff like that.
Yeah. So, and you have a pretty, like, badass guitar too, which I think needs to be showcased at some point. I really like it. I was like, "Dude, this is dope." Like, I would hang it on my
Yeah.
wall and not really be able to play it, but, somebody else can.
Yeah, I think I've had it for like I gotta say like 10 plus years
Oh,
because I
wow.
found it like back where I'm from in El Paso, and it was a pawn shop, and it was priced down. I was like, I gotta have that, but like I don't have a job. I'm like a teenager, a kid, like, but I want that guitar, like highlighter pink and that little skull at the end. Like, it's gonna look so cool.
And so you eventually got it though, right?
I got it. Yeah, I was like, I'm coming back for that. Like, I have to convince my dad to like buy that for me.
Yeah. So your interest in music has really stemmed at least from your teens, right? Or like, would you say even further back you had some type of experience or connection with music?
No, yeah, it was pretty early. I just never, kept doing it. It was kind of just learn on your own, YouTube, you know. I eventually learned tabs. I took a guitar class in high school. It kind of helped. It's just doing it, just daily practicing. Just keep doing it, and it sucks to say, but you have to take that time out of your day just to do it.
Yeah. And was guitar the first thing that you gravitated towards? Or were there any other instruments or maybe even singing that you gravitated towards first?
So I know when I was like a kid, my dad got me a little drum set, and that was pretty cool. Just like a little kid drum set, like jam into that. And my sister had a little Barbie guitar, and I played on that for a while. And I know his friend like tried to help me just like with the basics of like a couple songs. So the first song I'll ever remember and always know how to play is the Pink Panther.
Oh,
Just
yeah. Nice.
it's so funny, just the Pink Panther.
Yeah. Dun-dun, 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 dun-dun. Nice. Oh, that's cool. So then I'm assuming, well, I'm assuming, but maybe not. Like, do you know any other songs now? Like, have you picked up like a bit of a, I don't know, a bit of a portfolio of songs now, or is is it hard to like complete a full song?
So it's hard for me to complete just because of the repetition. So a
Mm,
lot of songs are, repetitive. So I kind of get bored of it and go to the next one.
mm,
So I think my thing is like finding solos and scales is like my next step
mm.
because I kind of know like the basic chords.
Yeah. Yeah. What about like, have you ever looked into like jazz guitar or something? Because that's also just, you're freestyling a lot. You're kind of going with like what feels good. And it's just, yeah, you're freestyling the
I
way you
know.
make music.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not really a big jazz fan, I guess.
Mm,
I do like some of it, but I don't know if I could get into it.
yeah. Yeah. Huh.
I'd
Maybe.
say just like what I do know is just like the beginning, like of Blink 182 or Avril Lavigne, just like the early 2000s sort of, fun punk rock sort of stuff.
Yeah. And so what keeps you holding on to it? You know, it's like if if you're kinda, I don't wanna say like you're stuck, but like if you're stuck at a certain place, what makes you wanna keep holding on to continue to learn more? You know, because you could have easily been like, "You know what? I can't go beyond this point, so I'm just gonna stop playing altogether."
I know. So I think it was kind of during COVID. It was like, you have to do this, you have to learn. Like, people are just bored at home. And it was kind of like that skill, like the hobby, pick it up and do it. And so I think that kind of pushed me. I was like, just keep learning, just keep doing. And from that, it's like, I know I can do it. It's just how you get busy with your daily job and hanging out with friends or your relationship. Like, it's hard to stick to something when you're so busy in your life, when you could just take like a couple minutes, but you'd have to, it's kind of like you have to give up everything to continue this. And I have heard like bands starting up, like they have to quit their job, practice so many hours, and I'm just kind of not ready to do that. Like, you need that 9 to 5 to kind of survive.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what if there's a way to incorporate both? Like, what if you were to find, like, a job that kinda complemented that training?
I'm trying. I'm trying. So my kind of next step is either to kind of stick with the music route, so like kind of do some sort of job at like a radio station or record store to kind of still stay in music.
Mhm.
But like, I mean, I'd love to perform. I love how like the audience, like you just see how the audience feels when someone is performing. Like, everyone's just having fun.
Mm,
And I kind of would really love to do that. You're just up there with your friends playing,
yeah,
your songs and just having fun every night.
yeah. So, have you ever dealt with stage fright or have you overcome stage fright? Because I know a lot of people, that's what kind of keeps them from doing it is dealing with that stage fright. That's why they don't push forward to perform live.
100%. Uh, I was in middle school and my counselor put me in choir
Mhm.
and I stuck with it, even though I don't sing. And I was casted a solo. So you see little me, 12-year-old, singing uh, Somewhere Over the Rainbow
Oh.
in my little stage dress, the little, like, it's like a plain black, really ugly performance dress, singing it. I mean, I was so scared. Like, you're shaking, but like, it's really fun being out there because I have performed like with the guitar or just like backup vocals, and you just see your partner that you're singing along with, and you're just kind of having fun there
Mhm. You mean like your partner in the band and group or your partner,
in the
like, in
band.
the crowd? Like, "I see you, baby. I'm singing to
Oh no.
you. I'm playing for you, man."
Oh gosh, no, no. It's like your friend in the band that
Yeah.
you're backup vocaling with.
Yeah, so having a good literally having a good band, having good bandmates is, like, what feels, like, encouraging to step out on stage because then you can kinda hype each other up and be like, "Dude, you got this. We got this."
Yeah. And I'm sure, like, it's tough too when, like, your audience is like zero, it's a few and they're not even at concerts, like with bands that are successful, like, people are just standing there
Mhm.
and they got their phones up. They want to remember it. I mean, I'm guilty. I put my phone up. I want to see.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard to, I guess, perform when someone's just like standing looking at you. They're not having fun. They're not deciding to break that cycle of like someone judging them because they're dancing, I guess.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of people are going through that. I've dealt with that too, where I'm just like, I don't know how to like dance to this music, but it's like, but yeah, I mean, do you find that it's just getting worse and worse now for like live music that people just aren't letting loose anymore and just connecting to the music?
I think so. It's like, unless it's sad to say, like, unless like you have alcohol, or if, like, sadly to say, like, if you're on drugs, like, that's the only way some people have fun. Like, they let loose because of alcohol. It's like their persona, and it should be, the opposite, where you can have fun sober too,
Yeah.
like just with your friends, just hanging out, just having a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I don't know. Have you been to a lot of the music festivals here in Austin?
I've been to, I think, twice ACL, and I'm just a frequent concert goer. So if I see someone I like that's performing here in town and it's affordable, then I'll go.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome. So what are some of the spots that you would recommend people to check out if they're coming to Austin and it's like, okay, what are the good music venues that you would suggest to people?
So venue wise, emos is a good one. They have a nice like space. It's not too big, it's not too small, but it holds a nice crowd. Stubbs is outdoors, so it's intimate, but it's just outdoors. That's the downside of it. But I've been to a few there. The sound barrier is really nice, and it holds like a good sound for the band.
Mhm.
Um, Mohawk is a nice venue. They have sometimes indoor performances and outdoor performances, and then it'll be like a two level, so you can see the band from up top,
Mm.
and then like right up front. ACL Live. That's a good one because it's like general admission, and there's like a standing area for like some people who want to stand, or like seating if you prefer seating,
Mm.
which is nice too. Sometimes like you're able to see the performer, without a super tall person in front of you.
That's true. Short people struggles.
Sort people struggles. We're only 5'2". Take your stool.
I know, right?
Who cares what other people say? Like, take it. But those are the main ones that I've been to that I can think of. But I do check like the trying to think of it's called Bands in Town, an app,
Hmm. Okay.
and it'll show you similar artists that you follow on Spotify and just who's in your city. So like you can kind of see who's touring for like the full year.
Oh, awesome. That's really cool, actually, like, in your own city, you see everybody? That's nice.
Yeah, just like who's performing, whether even if it's like sorry, my phone's dying.
No, you're good.
um if it's local, or like if it's a popular artist.
So, you got invited to work on this documentary about a band that's just it's these women, they went to the Femrock, they learned how to, like, be part of a band, and then after classes were done, they formed a band. And so this kind of feels like it's obviously, like, right up your wheelhouse and things like that, but, like, how did you end up even discovering that?
It's just funny to think that this only like happened like like 5 months ago.
Yeah.
um but I'm gonna say about not even, let's see, maybe 2 months. I'm trying to remember when I was asked. So I had met Lisa, who invited me for the documentary. So it's mainly she's the one who reached out to me, and I met her in a class at the Austin School of Film. I just can't remember which one, but I met her, and she was a part of like a short film that I did.
Hmm.
So she saw like how we put together our short film, which was like 15 minutes, and just reached out. It's like, hey, like, are you interested in doing a documentary? And I was like, sure, about what? And she said, like, this music group. And I'm like, great. Like, that's what I've been trying to get into, like, trying to do music videos. So, like, a music documentary will kind of help me just kind of get the basics and kind of move towards like that music video sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I reached out. So she reached out to me, and I was like, well, I know a couple other people who might be interested. So I reached out to you because you're like, yeah, I want to start doing music videos, which was funny. So I was like, this will be like a great opportunity for the both of us to kind of continue like our next step in shooting film, even though like yours was podcast or photography. I was like, well, she said she was interested in doing this, so I'll reach out to her. So it's kind of just like the people just kind of brought me to where I'm at for the documentary. And we still don't know where this is going to go. But
We're figuring
um
it out.
I've so what Lisa what she said that was interesting was that documentaries are from like bands that either have passed or broken up in the past.
Mhm.
Nothing that's been kind of done present day, like in the making. So that's kind of like what we're doing. Like this band started off like in a class, and we're kind of just seeing their growth through this.
Yeah. Yeah, literally. Like and it's really cool too because I tell people what we're doing and it's like they're doing a band for the first time and figuring out what that's like. We're working as like this independent film crew and we're figuring out what that's like. And It's really cool though because everybody kinda just fell into the positions that they like to do naturally.
Mhm.
Um, is that, like, what it felt like for you? Like, you naturally kinda just gravitated toward taking on certain activities more than others because, like, that's what you're interested in, or what was your take on that?
Yeah, I think so I had taken like a couple other classes beforehand and it
Mm,
was the just basic filming, basic lighting and the intro to audio. So I kind of knew a little bit of everything, but I wasn't sure what I was best at. And like once we started filming, we kind of saw like lighting was like a lot. So I kind of like grew to some of that, trying to figure out how to balance the lighting to where we could actually see the band members
mhm,
in that really dark studio room. And I think after that, it was just kind of seeing like close ups of videos at home to instrumental. So for the videography part, it was close ups of the guitars or the just like the foot on the pedals for the drums,
mhm.
um, the pedals for the guitars as well, and just those small details that you don't see. Sound, audio, I obviously hate to do, but
You don't say.
just setting
I'm kidding.
setting it up. Um,
Mhm.
I know the basics. I still hate to do it, but it's the most important part for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
know.
that's my least favorite for sure.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, well, Lee loves it. He's all about sound and, like, I have him in a podcast session too, and he talks about that and, like, the different ways he loves to explore that. So it's cool that, like, he already naturally loves doing that, so that takes away that responsibility that we all have to, figure out, like, "Alright, well, who's gonna do this?" "I don't know." "Oh, perfect. You already love doing this. Great," you know? Um,
Exactly.
yeah. I mean, like, so do you think that this is like, that you would stick to more documentary work? Like, just considering how much we've done already, like, do you think that that's something else that you would do again in the future? Or do you think, like, "No, now that I have some of these skills and an idea of this process, I would definitely only do, like, music videos that are just, like, set, this is it, it's quicker, like, produced faster," I don't know, or would you be open to longer productions?
Yeah, these the longer productions are obviously difficult because if you see like a movie, it takes like 2 years to make,
Mhm.
but they don't release it until 2 years after. So you don't even know the movie's being made, but then they'll release it when it's finally done in 2 years,
Yeah,
if that makes sense. So like the documentary could take up to 2 years, but we don't know.
yeah.
And it's just like all the editing that goes into it. I was like, what is making noise? This cough drop on my sleeve. I hear it.
Yeah, I heard it too, I'm like, "What?"
I was like, what the heck? Okay, sorry.
It's all good.
Um, the documentary, I think it's just now that we kind of know kind of how to sort of do stuff because it was sort of like figure it out like along the way, just have like a bigger, better guideline outline to like what to do and how to shoot stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So, when it comes to creating, like, videos, do you think you're gonna take additional classes to help you with differing parts of, like, the film or music video production? Or do you think, like, "Okay, I'm okay with the basics, and now I just wanna work in order to actually obtain the experience and learn the skills on hand versus through a class?" Like, how do you feel about that? Like, actually taking classes and, like, getting a full certificate or whatever else versus like, "Okay, I got my basics, now I'm just gonna jump into the work and do it."
I guess for each individual, it's different because for me, it's like focusing is hard these days. So it's kind of just like at a job, they throw you in it and you got to learn it and just figure it out on your own. So that's like what I'm used to. So if I know the basics of functioning certain cameras, then I can figure out the rest on my own just because that's how my brain works. Like I'll learn this on my own no matter if it's the hardest working camera, the most expensive, like I'll figure it out. And then it's easier to kind of do something smaller. So my brain's kind of like do the toughest thing first, and then the smaller one will be easier to kind of figure out. So for these classes, it's a lot of information. If it's a 2 day class, it's a lot of information in those 6 to 8 hours.
Mhm.
You know, if depending if you're one that learns upon experience, like you have to do it in order to figure it out. You have to plug in the mics or figure out the cameras, the white balance, like all these sort of little settings.
Yeah.
And if you take like the weekly classes, like they're good too, but then you forget what you learned last week.
Mm.
So it's just how your mind processes things. I think it's just whatever's best for you is the easiest way to go about it, you know.
Yeah.
And these classes have been helpful for myself just because my attention span is so small these days.
So do you think maybe like I know there's like a lot of balancing that we have to sometimes reevaluate within our own lives. Do you think that that's one of the things that you want to do moving forward, or do you think that it's not going to happen until a certain thing comes up in your life where you're like, wow, now I have to actually reorganize my life and reevaluate
Yeah, my life will never be organized.
it?
But is if you do like these like scheduling, like that does help 100%. It's just kind of taking that time out of your day that um obligation, like you need to do it, you owe these people like your time, and that kind of pushes you to do it because others rely on you, if that makes sense. Like it's better than kind of like yourself letting I guess letting yourself down as opposed to letting others.
Hmm. Yeah. So, yeah. So having that accountability is like
Yes.
really important. Yeah. Hmm.
And I think that pushes people for sure because like you don't want to fail, you know, in someone else's eyes. Like, you want to be the best and do your best for the group or whatever, you know, you may be doing.
Mhm. Yeah, and I mean, that ties in with your other, like, line of work and passion as well with, like, baking and cooking, right?
Oh yes, 100%.
And I mean, like, what got you into that? Is that something that you've always loved to do, or did that just pop out of nowhere?
I think it was kind of something I always did. It was like as a kid, like what are you bringing to the like little potluck at school, the little party, and it was like
Mm.
donuts or like something, cupcakes. I'd make it at home, always homemade. And then in high school, it was kind of like no one really kind of, I guess, guided me to like the next step after graduating. It was kind of like, oh, I didn't know I had to like sign up for college classes. Like you had to figure it out on your own. Like your parent isn't going to be there in the spring or the fall, like signing you up for college. Like you have to do this on your own. And I didn't know that, you know, you sign up for these college classes before you graduate. So like people are signing up way before we graduated and I'm just like stuck, like I was behind. So it's kind of just like doing something that I'm good at that I kind of won't get tired of that I enjoy, but I do look back and I'm like, man, I should have paid a little more attention instead of just eating like these dishes. Because I went to school for like culinary, just like, oh, let's
Hmm.
see what we make today, but like not registering in my brain certain cuisines, certain flavors, and stuff like that.
Hmm. So, okay, so then you finished high school and then you went to culinary school?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Nice. So, I mean, like, you you finished up high school, but then you were like, "Okay, well, people are signing up for college courses and this and that." So then what made you be like, "You know what? Culinary school is the thing for me versus traditional college."
So I feel like I think it was like I took my basics, so like your normal English,
Mm.
what is it, like economics, speech, like I took those, and then I might have seen like just the course list that they had, and it just interested me more than everything else. But I was looking into like fashion design or interior design. Like I was looking at not your normal typical jobs, nursing, not nursing.
Yeah.
Like I can't do blood. Um, but I was just looking for something fun
Hmm.
in my head. I didn't know how much it was going to make. Like this was going to be my career. Like I just wanted it to be fun.
Hmm. So that's like very different. Like, and I'm not saying it's different bad, but it's very different than what most people do. Like a lot of the times it's like, I'm going to go be a doctor because it makes money, and I'm going to go be a lawyer because it makes a lot of money, and I'm going to go like, a lot of people end up focusing on, yeah, the financial aspect of it. How much money can I make out of this career in the long run? Regardless of whether they like it or not. And then, like, I've definitely met people who were in like med school, law school, and I partied with some of the kids in med school, and there were some stuff that would happen, and they're like, I don't know, like somebody gets hurt or something. They're like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, I'm not in med school. And like, you got to do this. Like, I don't think you should be a doctor. Like, this is basic stuff. Like, so, like, I don't know. So but that's interesting. Like, I love that even at that young of age, you were able to say, like, if this is something I'm going to be doing with my time all the time, it should be fun. Like, you should enjoy it. And, if you do, you like find a workaround and you figure out like everything else after. So, I mean, like, do you stick by your decision or do you have any regrets for it?
I guess regrets would be just taking care of my body more, just
Mhm.
because they said, like the chefs from the school, they said like you're gonna hate this, like it doesn't pay well, and I didn't know, I guess, how much I was gonna be on my feet and my knees. I'm not the strongest person, so like my back, just lifting stuff properly, like you hurt yourself over the years.
Mm.
So I'd just be like taking care of my body, wearing the right shoes, just for that. So I mean, I'm almost 30 and my back hurts.
Yeah.
My knees.
Yeah. So some type of like
But
strength training or something like that, do you think would be good for people, especially in that line of work in general, like just strength training and just working out your body and movement?
yeah, just taking care of yourself, and like their long hours, they expect a lot out of you.
Yeah. I mean, how often do people end up quitting this career because it is too much on their body?
I think it's both like physically and mentally. Like you have to have the mindset to be able to, I guess, if you're a chef, manage your whole kitchen, manage just the tickets, how it's running, and everything's just coming in like that. You have to be like focused under pressure.
Yeah.
So like I remember dreaming about the ticket machine, just like zzz, zzz, zzz. I dream about the timer, just like beep. beep.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my God, I'm dreaming about work and my dreams will be about work. And I'm like, I don't even work there anymore,
Oh,
you know?
man, you're still getting those dreams?
Sometimes I'm
What?
dreaming I'm back in high school.
What? Oh, man.
Yeah, in basketball, or I don't have enough money in my lunch account.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, we're gonna have to get into dream analysis with you one day. I love this, like, I'm a nerd about that stuff, like, I love all the things and dream
you
analysis
know.
and, like yeah, because I've been through those periods of time as well where it's like I have recurring dreams or yeah, if I'm overworked, I remember having a dream, I was working in retail and I was just, like, going crazy because it was just nonstop. We were shorthanded. I was stepping up and working way more hours than necessary when I was in college full time. I had, like, 2 jobs at that point. I had 3 at, like, another time period, but at that point, I think I had, like, the 2, and then I was working, like, part-time at the one, close to full-time at the other, and then, like, managing courses. Like, it was just too much, and I remember dreaming that I was trying to close the gate to have people, like, not come into the store anymore, and people just kept coming in, and I'm like, "We're fucking closed, get out, get" like, screaming, and then they're just coming in, and they just kept coming, and I was just like I hated it. I just remember that dream and just feeling so miserable, so I empathize with you, and I'm sorry that you still have those dreams.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So how many people would go into culinary school and then drop out? You know, like, is that very common for people to go in and be like, "This is not for me," or "I can't take it," or anything like that?
I think so. So I'm trying to remember like how many hours a day. I know like some were like mini mesters, so it might have been just like Saturday and Sunday. You're there for 8 hours for a couple months. So to be there all day, like these long hours, you're coming from 7 in the morning, leaving 5 at night. It's dark. You come in, it's dark. You leave, it's dark, and then you have to go to work. Like that put a strain on me. And then I had like a externship at another place, so I was doing like 2 or 3 things, and it was just like a lot to take in for myself. But like these people have kids, like they need to take care of their kids. They can't be like here at school because like the age ranges from 18 to however many years older. So your classmate could be 50 years old and you're 20.
Mm,
So some people would drop out and like you wouldn't, ever see them again and you don't know why. And it could be, at home stuff or just because it was so stressful having to stick to all your classes and meeting your hours that you had to work in the facility or outside the facility. Because it's just overwhelming the amount of things that you had to do.
yeah. So the
And these classes were small too, like 15 to 20 people. It was a very nice like facility. It was a community college, but like this facility was like super clean, super new. I think they were open only a couple years before I signed up, and I was like, wow, this is like beautiful, like really nice equipment, like I'm working with.
that's awesome. Like, do you think that people are more committed then to trades like this versus, like, typical college? Because people go to college and they're like, "I'm gonna get jacked up this weekend," and, like, party because they're just around people their own age. A lot of times, like, that instigates partying and, getting wild and all this stuff. It's obviously depending, like, what you're studying, but do you think, like, within culinary school, there's still that culture of, like, "Let's go to school and party hard," and all this stuff? Or do you think, like, everybody's more focused on, like, the actual curriculum and learning the trade itself?
I think it was just like because everyone was in different parts of their life, so like the age again it ranged, so like they were kind of ready for something new. and it was either they were trying it just to try it for the class, or they like stuck to the program and got the whole associate's degree. So I think like they were ready in their lives to like begin this journey because they were done with their past, career, or they're fed up with their 9 to 5 job and they're ready to do something different.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, and especially with cooking, I mean, there's, like, so much to get into. I mean, how often did you end up having to go over the same basic thing over and over? Like cooking an egg or boiling an egg, like, is that, you know, a serious focus on just trying to perfect that simple act of cooking an egg versus like, "Oh, let's I don't know, let's learn how to torch this thing." I don't know any cooking methods, so I'm just like, I don't I like when I cook,
But you get
I'm
it.
like a high cook. I just throw random shit together. Like, I'm intuitive. I'm just like, "I don't know, let's just throw some of this and whatever." So, like, how often are you, like, really focusing on the basic things and mastering that in culinary school?
I mean, I guess for one, it was I didn't know that there was a proper way for scrambled eggs. So it takes you more into kind of knowing the details about it. Like you got your over easy, over medium, over hard, sunny side up, and then your scrambled eggs that like don't look like the scrambled eggs that I cook at the house. They're like looking like undercooked mayonnaise. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you find out like ways to cook it, like poaching an egg, like certain little tricks I know for that, and just like those small methods to cook, one thing. And I wouldn't have known that. I would have just cracked it in a pan and cooked it. Like it's done. It's ready to eat.
Yeah. Hmm. So do you end up, like, specializing in culinary school, or do you take general stuff, and then if you wanna specialize, you have to go into another program or school?
So the program was culinary certificate, a pastry certificate, or sorry, associate's degree for both of those. One was management, so like business management for culinary, and then I feel like it was a restaurant management for those 3 degrees.
Mm,
But yeah, those were all at the same facility, which was nice because like you could get whatever basic courses you needed and then just learn all those there,
mm. Yeah, that's
like all in one.
oh, that's nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, do you think that you wanna continue with your education like, in culinary or working with pastries or anything like that? Or do you think, like, you're done with that and now you really wanna just focus on extending out your film knowledge?
So I think I'm trying to, I know it'd have to be like reading like the books, but trying to get into the different cuisines, the different origins, like the seasonings that are used for like Indian food, Brazilian food, just Southern food, just all these sort of cuisines, and bringing like that basics of kind of relearning everything, which is very hard. Focusing again, um, because once you don't do it, you forget. Just like in high school, like I was really good at math, and I'm just forgetting math now.
Mm,
But so if you don't practice that art, you kind of just forget how to do it unless you continue to do it. So right now I'm doing like the pastry. Like I'm really good at some stuff. I haven't done certain things like make ice cream. Like I know how to do it, but I need to keep doing it to kind of remember. And I'm trying to kind of combine the two. So it's kind
mm,
of jumping back into learning the basics of cooking with like some sort of videography to bringing them both together and turning them to something new because this like 8-hour shifts. My back is hurting after 5 hours. Like it's so tough,
Yeah.
you know. So I'm trying to find something that kind of is in between those, you know.
I have an idea that I'll tell you about after the call, so nobody steals your idea.
Good idea.
Um, yeah, and
Everyone's
I
listening.
know everybody's like, "What's the
Google's listening.
idea? Oh my god, what's gonna happen?" I have great ideas, guys. Like, if you need an idea, this is called idea sin. Like, that's all I do is
Oh
like
shoot.
come up with the random ideas. Are they always like 100%? Majority of the time, yeah. I'm just kidding. No. Um, no, like, it's, um it's interesting because, yeah, it's a combination of your passions right now. You're trying to figure out that balance, and I see a few different options and how you can do that and actually combine, like, music into it, and you could actually get just because, like, it's kind of aligning with a certain vision that I have too, and so, like, I'll let you know about what it is that I think because, like, it would be great, and if you can make passive income from it, then why not, you know? I think that there's a lot of ways that we can all really expand out on the things that we love and are passionate about and inspire other people to do it, and then, like, still have, like, passive income or make it your primary income. You know, like, I think it's oh, yeah, I got another idea. Hold on. I, like, need to write this stuff down because I don't wanna forget it, and I wanna tell you what it is after. So,
Write it down. Take a moment. Write it
yeah.
down.
Yeah, I have
I'll chat.
t
I'll chat to the audience.
2 ideas.
Um,
I know, yeah, chat with the audience. Tell me what is your favorite thing what's your favorite pastry to make? And what's that like for you?
I really enjoy making pies.
Oh,
I'm pretty good at making pies.
what kind of pies?
They're easy. They're fun. With ice cream, they're the best. So I can make, let's see, pecan pie, pecan, whichever you choose. Apple, peach, blueberry, mixed berry. See, lemon, strawberry, chocolate pudding, chocolate French silk, and pumpkin.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, if you ever I've already said this, but if you ever want to, like, make these and you need a taste tester, like, I'm pretty good with that. I'll eat it and I'll give you my opinion and I'll be like, "Yeah, that was great. Thanks."
It was great.
It was great.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, I have a sweet tooth and I have to balance it out because it's just, like, sometimes I
Oh,
just go on, like, sugar overload. I'm like, "Ugh." Dying, and then, like, I can tell because, like, my skin gets very sensitive, and sometimes, like, I can just, like, react to it, and it's just, like, not good, so I know my limits, I gotta relax every once in a while. So, yeah, if you
yeah,
can make me
I get
pies
it.
that don't have a lot of sugar in it, that would be great, but, just throwing out the challenge for you, just for your own growth and development.
Well, you always have to order like something sweet, when you go out. So it's got to counteract with what you order. So if you're having pancakes, you got to have like the egg
That's what
scramble.
I
Like you have to
do.
have
Yeah.
French toast and like your hash brown scramble. Like it's got to be both.
Yes. Oh my god, you get it. That's how I order.
Which we'll just do sugar-free syrup as the alternative.
Yeah, I guess that's fine. Yeah, it's funny, like, I'll go out to eat and stuff, and then they'll come around and they're like, "Would you like some dessert?" And I'm always like, "Oh, I wanna look at the menu." And then people are like, "No, I'm good." And I get so sad about it, so it's okay. It's okay. 'Cause I know Jess is gonna make me some desserts. It's gonna be fine as we work on her
Pie.
business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have pie.
Yeah. Aw. No, I think that that's really cool that, like, you still wanna continue to expand on that knowledge because some people, they would just be like, I just don't have time and, like, I'm just gonna give up on it, and I'm not really gonna focus on that right now," and, like, they table it, And unfortunately, like, they lose their interest in their own passions, and then they don't try to search for anything else. It's like it's almost like you have to walk a certain path until you know you've hit, like, either that intersection of, like, choosing to go one direction or another. But it's like, if you don't ever get to that fork in the road, it's like that wasn't done for you in a way. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I see that sometimes too, like within myself. I'll go to a concert and I'm just like looking at the guitarist. I'm like, man, just like I can kind of see the chords that they're playing. I'm like, well, I could do that. Like, it just makes me want to go home and play my guitar.
Mhm.
Or the bass, like I don't have a bass, but it makes me want to go home and buy a bass.
Yeah.
Like that kind of pushes me. Like if I go out and I see these people like having fun, I'm like, man, I could be doing that. Just like testing, my brain. Just keep doing it. Like this is kind of like a reminder, like you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, do you have any tips or advice or words of inspiration for any of our listeners who are maybe kind of, I don't know, like they're questioning what they should do or questioning their passion? Like, is there anything that you would suggest for them?
Yeah, I'd say just it's sad to say just do it. Like if it's in your head, like just find a way to kind of tell your story. Like look up videos, look up things that can help. There's a lot of information online, these days, and they could be similar, like marketing ideas that you might have that someone else kind of inspires you. So just doing it is the I guess my advice. Put your mind on it. Once it's in your brain, like you're not gonna let it go. You just have to eventually just do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just gonna keep eating at you. You're just like, ugh.
hmm
Yeah. Do you think that's kind of like where jealousy really stems from? Or I don't know, like those negative emotions that people feel, like, do you think a lot of it is just because they're not pursuing the things that they really want?
I think it's also a lot of like being afraid or being afraid to be judged,
Mhm.
and that kind of probably holds a lot of people back, or just the failure. But like if you don't try, you'll never succeed. You'll never know. So it's just you have to try.
Yeah. Yeah, and you always can get back up, try something else, go back to
Yeah.
something you already
The,
know and then move forward, right?
and it's just practicing those things. Like you're never gonna be the best the first time you do something. Like you're always gonna have failures, but if you keep pushing through it, like you'll eventually like make your way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to see, like, where you end up with a lot of these things and to see if any of my ideas, like, resonate with you or, like, make sense for you, and then, like, obviously, like, where our project goes too, because we kinda just both jumped on it and we're just, like, figuring it out as we go. Like, I've never been on a film crew. Like, like, ha have you, like you haven't been on a documentary per se, but have you been on, like, an official film crew before?
I've helped as a production assistant on a few, but like never, a documentary.
Yeah.
Never my own thing, and just all these copyright things and, you know, legalities we have to go through. Like it's good to know now. That way when we want to do more stuff, like like you already messed up. Like now you can learn from that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Oh, well, Jess, is there anything else that you would like to say to our listeners as we start to wrap up?
I do. So I I'd say a couple years ago, I kind of like set some short term goals and like long term goals for myself. And within like those couple years, like I've reached them. So it was kind of like I'm going to learn or start these classes when I moved to Austin. But that was when I lived back in Colorado.
Mhm.
So I set the goals of taking the classes. And now I've taken like a bunch. And I set a goal to like start entering into the music industry. So that's kind of like with filming this documentary. So it's slowly gonna help me pursue, my dream of working on music videos.
Mm.
And the classes helped me start small videography. So I'm starting to do weddings. So I'm just building my portfolio so I can pursue my career in that field of videography. So kind of just like set those goals for yourself. Like you'll eventually meet them. Everyone in their life takes time in doing what they do, and it may take longer for some people. It may take a little time for others, but like set yourself up and try to meet those goals for yourself, just to know that you can get there no matter how long it's going to take you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great advice. It's just thinking about what your goals are. And that's awesome that you're looking at it like short term and long term. And you could even define long term as like I had this exercise with somebody else in another class of mine, but it was like, where do you like what kind of goal do you have for yourself in 20 years? I was just like, oh shit, I don't even know what I'm doing next year, let alone 20 years from now.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't even know. Um, and even sometimes just looking at it further down the line, you're like, wow, 20 years from now, like what the heck is even what is the world gonna be like? What are you gonna be doing within that world? Like, where were you in the past 20 years? Or it's just crazy to think sometimes, and I think it's a good exercise to reset your perspective of where you are in life. If you're just constantly stuck and being like, "I can't do this," and you're hyper focused on one singular problem, it's just like, is this problem going to matter 5 years down the line or 10 years or maybe 20 years down the line? And then you just start getting a broader perspective on things and being like, wow, there's a lot of shit that I worry about that really doesn't matter. It's not going to make a difference in 5 years. It's like, what's the point of getting so upset about it when it ultimately is not going to mean anything? It's just one moment in this time. And there's gonna be other moments in your life too that are gonna be difficult or challenging or fantastic. And just, yeah, riding that wave. Riding the goal wave too.
Yeah, and like I see, like you see videos or like whatever reels on any social media, but you see these people starting something in their 50s, 60s, like
Yeah.
we're stuck in like we have to do this by this certain age, like we can't fail, but we can do like so many things now and still not know what we're going to do like later in life. Like the goal is just to kind of have fun throughout life. Like you can do whatever you want. Like just keep doing stuff, keep making new friends, keep, I don't know, reaching out to old friends, experiencing new places. But like life, you don't know what life is going to be in 20 plus years. You're going to have that same old job and kind of regret like not living life.
Yeah. Yeah, because at that point, like, are you gonna be mentally capable of doing the things you wanna do or physically able to? That's like I've heard that before too. Like some people, they're like, when I retire, I'm gonna travel and do all this stuff. But then they retire, and I've heard these guys be like, "My body is so destroyed," or like, "I don't have the stamina to do this," or "My health isn't there," and blah, blah, blah. Like, all of a sudden, their retirement plans are just kind of, like, out the window because they waited instead of just trying to find fun and fulfillment in the everyday, like, throughout your life. I think that's like a great reminder. Like, I really appreciate that you live life like that, like viewing it as like you have to have fun and fulfillment in your daily life. It's not just all work. It's not.
It's sad, yeah. It's just like you work to pay off rent in a place that you're not going to be at because you're working.
Yeah, right?
You know,
Yeah.
your apartment, your house, however, you're renting, you're purchasing your place, but you can't work that amount of time to not have fun. Like, spend the money. It's always going to come back.
Yeah. It definitely does. Money comes and money goes. You just gotta remember it. Like, if you keep thinking money goes, then you're not gonna see it coming in. You gotta see the balance. Yeah. Oh, Jess, well, thank you so much for being on my podcast. This was awesome. I love talking about it
No,
and
yeah,
learning
thank you for
more.
having me.
Yeah, of course. Well, I remember when Jen was asking you to be on her podcast, and I was like, "Huh, I wonder if she ever did it." Did you ever do her podcast?
No, we have to meet up with
Oh.
everyone, catch up. She's gonna hate me, but
Yeah. Dude, she's
she said under 30, so I got a couple more years.
a couple more years. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you have to do it. No, share it because like you love music. You have a connection to it. You want to create music videos, like this visual representation of these melodic sounds and noises. Like share the things that inspire you with her and her listeners because her listeners like are open to diverse types of music. And I think it would be great to hear like what inspires you and motivates you to want to do all these things that you're doing now, you know? And I'm sure she would
Hmm.
love it. And I'm also just like, I'm just instigating you to do it. And that's what I do. I'm
We
an
have to
instigator.
meet up. We have to meet up with everyone.
Yeah. We have multiple meetings to do, that's for sure.
Oh, jeez.
It'll be fine. Oh, well, if anything, Jess is Uh, do you have any like type of social media account or anything like that that you want users to reach out to you on?
I do. I can't remember what I wrote down. It was just like something that I know I would check recently because I know emails get by. I try to check that. I have like two that I try and go through.
Mhm.
So I think it's just my main account on Instagram. It's going to be at music.ismy MU5E muse
Nice.
at music.ismymuse, if that makes sense.
Ah.
With the five being an S.
Yes, and I will have that in the bio for y'all to go to and click on it, and then you can follow her. And again, that's perfect. Music is my muse. That totally like fits up your alley. So just instigating you, talk to Jen, talk about your music.
I will reply. I will reply to those who try and reach out.
Yeah, I know. I know you will. But yeah, to our listeners, again, feel free to check out the bio and check out, all the information that Jess has provided to us. That check out the different venues, check out your passions, check out all of these different things and connect to music and find the things that connect with you. And just thank you again so much for talking to me and sharing your story. And I'm going to talk to you like it soon anyway. So I'm not even like, you're going to be like, oh yeah, I miss you and this and that. Cause I'm going to see you in like a few days. So, but we got a lot of work to do. But to our listeners, thank you so much again for taking the time to listen to our stories and to connect with us. Until the next time, thank you.